going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, in today's video, we're taking a look at a brand new product from the team over at IPollo, the IPollo V1H. Now, traditionally, V1 series are really efficient on algorithms like 𝐸𝑐 and 𝑒TC #, and the latest thrill has been adding in ZIL. Well, the V1H follows suit there, but what makes it different is that H, or that hydro, added to the end of it. Well, this is one of the first home miners I've ever gotten my hands on that utilizes AIO water blocks to actually cool those ASIC chips. So let's not waste too much time and let's take a look at the IPollo V1H. Alrighty, the IPollo V1H. Feels good to get my hands on some new hardware here, guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at this guy here. We'll open this sucker up, take a look inside. Here we go, IPollo V1H, 6 gigabytes of memory, max DAG size 5.8. Hash rate here says 850 megahash, give or take. It has the ETH hash there, and the wattage it's saying is about 690 plus or minus 10%. So we'll have to go ahead and put that to the test. We do have a voltage meter, so we'll test it out. So here's the front of the case. Has a radiator in the front. Look at the size of this thing. That is huge. Looks like power supply, probably an intake fan of some kind on this side, most likely air flowing through the unit. Let's take a look on this side. Look at that, it's just like straight mesh all the way through. Look, you can see right inside to those components. Got that red power cable there. And yes, on the back side here, we have our power outlet with a toggle switch, Ethernet, TF card slot, IP report, reset, a fault light and normal light, and even a little USB port as well. Other than that, there's not much to it. Now, based off of what I saw online, the unit actually sits like this, downward like that. I'll probably run it up and down unless you guys know of some issues that may occur with like the water block and stuff like that. But let's not waste too much time. Let's open this up and take a look at what makes it this hydro, and then let's get it plugged in and see how it performs. Alright, so what do we have here? So it's so funny, it's like super simple, and it's this weird hybrid between like a gaming desktop computer I'm used to seeing with these AIO coolers on it, and then an ASIC. So let's start over here, then we'll make our way up. We have a control board, very similar to what we see in most traditional ASICs here. We do have, look, these are our ribbon cables. You know, we have 1, 2, 3 total ribbon cables, so we have 3 total, looks like ASIC chips, we could call them, in here. On top of that, we then have, these are for our fans right here at the bottom. They go up to here on the back side of this radiator. And then you can see, look, the radiator goes to each one of these here, and it goes through and cools these. And it looks like, actually, check this out. So yeah, you have it, they kind of like daisy chain together is what it looks like. See, this one comes in, and then this one actually jumps to this one, then jumps to this one, jumps to this one, and then comes back through. So it's like a full loop is the way it looks, that the way that they were to design this. So each one of these, I don't believe, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, each of these isn't actually an independent, and actually they're all looped together to make one giant system. So I'm really curious on if we're going to see different temperatures through this. Is this one going to run the coolest, and then this one a little bit warmer, and this a little bit warmer based off of this? We'll have to see. It might not based off of these chips. With the fans here, it looks like there's some type of putty in here to help keep them in place. It's hard and dried, so I'm not really sure on that there. And then on top of that, look, there's a connector here, and that runs through, and okay, so it powers each of these individual pumps that we have through here on the coolers. Now, some of you guys are like big, water cooling nerds. Feel free to leave comments down below and correct me. I'm taking a lot of guesses here, guys. So we then have power that runs from here down to our board. And then other than that, yeah, there's not too much more. Power supply in the bottom of the unit here. It only has Ethernet. I'm actually super surprised. This unit I feel like would be like the perfect, like if we could gauge items here, that would be a nice wish list. Having wireless on this unit would be really, really nice, because then you could kind of put it wherever. But you are limited here based off of the Ethernet. So IPollo, if you're watching, which I hope you are, wireless on version 2.0 would be great. So taking a closer look down here, we have our power button. Here, these are actually, this is, it looks hardcore, those terminals down there for power. And then these are each of our chips. So each of the chips here are just sitting on this overall board, and that's really it. I'm not going to take these off. This isn't a Red Panda mining video, because knowing my luck, I won't put it back on right, and I'll have a massive issue. That's just the way my luck goes. So that's really the unit here. So those of you guys not familiar, it uses this radiator cool. The air comes in, goes through it, but the nice thing is, like, you don't need a massive amount of airflow through this unit, because all these fans are really doing, they're not cooling anything in here, they're just cooling what's on the radiator. So let me get this plugged in, and let's get this thing configured in mining. All right, we have been up and running for about almost 5 hours currently right now. When I did power this up for the very first time, you could actually hear, I guess it's more of a gel. Some of you more technical people will correct me here, but the gel, or it wasn't really water, but moving through all of the cooling pipes here is actually pretty cool to hear. And then after it gets going, you don't hear it anymore. And as you guys can tell now, you might be able to hear, you actually just hear these fans. That's about it. Other than that, it's really, really quiet. So you can see here, it's about 78 degrees. There is some warmth coming out the back side of this. So I was wrong on my airflow predictions, just kind of how it was designed. It makes a lot more sense now that I see it powered on. So what happens is, this is actually your intake, comes through naturally, gets pulled through these fans. You can actually feel it right here. And then it blows out this side here, which is where the radiator is at this point in time. So you can actually feel it down here as well, where you do have the exhaust. So we do have this plugged in. It does do 100 up to 240 volt based off of what you have. We're at 120 here. And so this, we can check right over, and we are at 730 watts total, give or take. You can see it bounces around a tiny bit, but not much at all, which is great for this. And even on here, this is upside down, but it says 690 with watts with a 10% fluctuation on this guy. So something I was curious about was some of the temps in here. So if we take our little infrared laser gun here, and let's point it up here. It says about 95.5, 95, and 91. So the one at the bottom is definitely cooler than the other ones. It's like, what do we say, 91.9, 95, 95.5. So I actually thought it would be cooler this way, but it's actually the other way. And then even on the radiator side though, you can see, like, look, that's even 101 degrees on this radiator side. Now, you can still touch this. It isn't too hot at all. It is warm. One thing I'm kind of surprised about, and maybe someone else may know, maybe IPollo will comment, I wonder why they didn't do a mesh like this in the front here to protect all these fins. They're just kind of sitting here. I feel like it, even here, look, you can see all the screws. I wonder if you take like something like this, I might actually take one of these fan grills, and I have some extra ones, and I can do 1, 2, 3 of them here just to protect these from getting all messed up. So something to keep in mind. Now, I know a lot of you guys are interested in sound levels. Now, I do have the unit open. We'll test it closed, but let's put this right on top here. We'll do it up here first. So about 57, 58, and I'll do it down here a little closer to the fans. Is it gonna stand? Let's try here. There we go. about 65. Let me get this closed up and we'll test it out there. All right, let's do one more reading with the side panel on. $59.60, and let's go right here on the side. $60.61, and I'll put on this side over here because this is right next to the fans. Let's go a few feet away, see if that changes anything. $57.58, not too bad. All right, let's jump over to the computer and talk about how this actually performs, what we're seeing poolside, and also profitability. All right, so we're taking a look over here on IPollo's website. This is the IPollo V1H. Now, something I noticed under hash rate here, we have the 850 mega hash model. There is a 950. It's got a strike through on it, so it's not available. So something to come down the pipeline. Now, it is running for a price point right now of $1,199. We'll talk about that price here towards the end with our overall feedback on the product. Scrolling down, you can see it does a variety of different algorithms, not just ETH hash and ETC, but there is a variety listed here. One that we had talked about was ZIL. ZIL is right there in the list. There's the hash rate, 850 up to 950 plus or minus. Scrolling down, you can see it does support from 100 to 240 volts and with a total power consumption of anywhere between 690 and 750 watts plus or minus. We'll talk a little bit more about why that's such a big window of power consumption, about 60 watts, once we go ahead and take a look at the miner. All right, so we're over on the miner page and ooh, it's bright, no dark mode. But you can see here our current hash rate is about 813. We talked about it being right around 850. If we go ahead and take a look at some additional information here, you could come in here, you can see we've been up and running for 5 hours and 6 minutes. You can see that we're at 827 mega hash, at least here on the miner side. Now, when we want to take a look and see some of our other specs that we do see running, the fans are running anywhere between that 1900 up to that 2900, and the unit's running pretty good at 31 to 45 C. And it's been pretty consistent across the board. Now let's look at the miner config. So it's very similar to what you see with traditional IPollos. You do have the drop down up here for ETC hash or ETH hash based off of what you're looking to do. Right now we did our testing on ETC hash with ZIL. And you can see right now we're mining to �ZIL.me, and we'll go over and check that out in just a minute. Now, there is two different modes. There's a hash rate mode and an energy mode. That's why they go ahead and give you a little bit more of a ballpark on watts used. I haven't tested energy out. I hope to do that in a future video. We've been purely testing out the hash rate mode for almost 5 hours right now. Actually, 5 hours and 8 minutes. So we did cross that threshold. Other than that, nothing else too special about the software. You can address the fans if you want to and kind of alter these if you want to. But as you guys saw with the sound test, it's not that loud. All right, so we're over on the pool. And this is actually my first time using 𝐿ZIL.me. And shame on me because their dashboard is pretty sick. So I came over here, you can see start mining, selected ETC. I would then went ahead and selected ETC and ZIL. You can see that you can pick from a variety of different here. You put in your addresses. We picked what we're going to be mining with, which is ASIC. We picked East Coast, and it spits out exactly a nice and simple version of what pool and what we want to list, copy and paste it, and then also the worker and also the password, which made it super easy. Now, jumping over to the pool stats, let's refresh that one more time here. And we've been up and running on this pool for about 5 hours, as we talked about. You can see the hash rate. You can see how many rounds it has done with ZIL, and that'll give you some pretty good ideas there. In addition to that, you can look at forecasting. So if you click forecasting, you can actually see what you'll actually be at. We haven't quite hit the 6 hour mark, so we're testing off of 30 minutes. But you can see down below here, it says we're about $2.28 per day. Now that's strictly on the miner side. And that's only based off of a 30-minute window. We haven't quite hit 6 hours. So what I did was I went ahead and came over to minerstat.com. They do have a calculator for ETC and ZIL. And I went ahead and put in here our hash rate about 840, our power consumption at 731. I didn't put a pool fee for this just because of where we're at. And then I did my electric rate, which is 4 cents. And when I hit calculate, you'll see here daily, it says we're about $2.49. It takes out 7 cents in electric, which is nothing. And we end up with $2.42 in our profitability per day. So this unit, super efficient and doesn't use a lot of watts, which is awesome. All right, so let's talk about the overall product. The IPollo V1H or V1 Hydro. V1 Hydro sounds so much better. So the unit's pretty badass, to be honest with you. I like that it's significantly quieter. It just sounds like you got a box fan on and running, and it's not super loud. You could put this in any room, even a room with a television, and you'd still be okay. As you get farther and farther away from this unit, those decibels drop more and more, so that doesn't bother me at all. Now it does put out some heat, but nothing insane. So the nice thing is I plan to put this in a 4th bedroom and run it in that bedroom over my garage to warm that bedroom during the winter. It's not going to be overbearing like some other graphics card rigs that I put in there in the past, but it'll definitely do the trick. I've even put some ASICs in that bedroom. So performance versus, let's talk about the performance versus the watt consumption. So it's not terrible. It's pretty decent. Looking at other competitor products that are very similar to this that are out there on the market, there is another one out there in mind that does significantly higher hash rate more. It's more of, you know, it breaks that gigabit level and does significantly more, but it's about $1,000 more. In regards to your watt consumption, it's a little bit high. I love to see this a little bit lower and kind of tuned in. Now, what I'd like to see out of this product, I'd like to see a 3rd mode that you can, maybe a high performance mode or something of that sort, or maybe a firmware update to get more out of it. I feel like this is right on that cusp of hitting 1 gigahash, and that's more the norm of some of these larger box, I guess you can call this a box, not really a box miner. It's kind of gotten significantly bigger, but I feel like that gigabit threshold is obtainable, maybe with some higher frequencies or additional overclocking, especially because of the fact that we're kind of using that water block cooling on this unit. Why not? Let's have the ability to push it to the max, but we need to keep those watts down. Other than that, the last thing that I really wish was on this product that I don't see is wireless. This thing has everything else I would want out of it. It's quiet. It gives off a little bit of heat. You know, it's not obnoxiously loud. And I can kind of, you can run it off of you know, 120 volt, which is great, but it's missing the wireless. I mean, seriously, I really wish IPollo would have put this on there, maybe in version 2.0, because then you can kind of put this anywhere and it's perfect as a home miner. Well, guys, that's going to wrap things up for today. Huge shout out to IPollo for sending over this unit for my first thoughts and feelings. If you guys are interested in this unit or you just want to read more about it, I'll put a link directly down below. Keep in mind though, that link is an affiliate link. So if you purchase from there, it does give me a little bit of a kickback, and all I can say is thank you, and it doesn't affect your price. That's going to wrap things up right there, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to be notified the next time I drop a video, go ahead and click that bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.